Hi, this is Eric Martinez with New Mexico Biz Talk. That's nmbiztalk.com. And today I'm with Melven from Albuquerque Realty.com.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, thank you for having me. I am a realtor here in Albuquerque. It's been about a little over 2 years for me. I joined this team pretty much because I had a friend in the industry, and I also was thinking about doing this for quite a while. My background is actually I was in the car business for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
I started out selling cars for about 2.5, 3 years right out of high school and while I was going to college. And then eventually I transitioned from being a sales person to a finance director. And so I did, finance side of that business for 6.5, 7 years. And, while I was doing that, the car business is a lot of hours. And so I had my daughter at 22, and, I reached a point where I wanted to spend more time with her and things like that. And I was always trying to think about what things I can do to maybe, have a good lifestyle, but more free time. And real estate was always on my mind. And so my friend who was in the business for about 3 years, when I was talking to him, kind of influenced that, for me, and I was already thinking about it. So it put me to a point where I wanted to try it out. And, being in the car business and, helping so many people purchase a car, helping so many people get financed for a car, things like that, I said, why not help people find homes? And my mom at the time was wanting a home, at that time or in the near future. So it also put me in a point where, why not help my mom, so.
Good practice.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how I ended up in real estate. And, so far, like I said, it's a little over 2 years, and I'm definitely happy where I'm at now. And, I'm excited to keep going and, look more towards the future.
So you've been doing this for 2 years, and you started from the car industry. What did you go to school for? Were you at UNM or?
Yeah,
Okay.
So I was at UNM, and I studied business. And so I was doing business management for a while. And when I was younger, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do. So I just figured that was being in business was a broad state where I can kind of get into a lot of different things. And again, I was selling cars and stuff for a while, and then eventually I grew in that car industry where when I got the promotion, it was really good money and a really good opportunity for me. So that's kind of where I transitioned to, and I stayed in that industry for 10 years. So
So now moving forward, you're in the real estate industry, and you've been doing this for 2 years. So one of the things that I heard from you earlier as we were talking was that you're really big on networking, and so what does that look like? Do you go to all the little openings and social networking? What's that like?
Yeah, so luckily for me, I've grown up here my whole life, so I actually know a good amount of people. So sometimes I can't go into places without seeing somebody I know, which is nice because oftentimes I can have a good conversation with people. So because of that, I'm able to reach a lot of people or help a lot of people, and a good thing for me is hopefully the reason why I got into this business is hopefully help people find their future homes and things like that. I do have Instagram, Facebook, all the social networks. So, people do contact me on those. As far as social outings, I like attending events and meeting new people, and, learning new things. So I'm kind of open to everything, especially being new to this business. I'm always trying to figure out ways to meet new people, find new clients, how I can help new people, and also learn new things. So,
Well, I know Albuquerque has a huge networking. All the business professionals that I've talked to, they all go to networking events, and there's just a lot of little circles that have those things. And I see real estate people at those as well.
Yeah.
So I could imagine you being at those.
Right.
So customers, clients, how do they find you, and how do you onboard them? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I think oftentimes a lot of people can be confused on where to start. And, oftentimes when I get people that contact me, whether it's through social media, text messages, in person, things like that, they say they're always looking online, but they don't know who to talk to, where's the starting point. And so, I like to shed light on that. Me personally, I like when people start with me, or if they don't start with me, I always tell them it's always nice to start with a lender. So starting with me, I always ask, have you spoke to a lender yet? Most of the times it's no, because they don't think that they don't know that they should. So I always tell them, okay, well, let's get you with a lender. Who do you bank with? Or if you don't have a lender that you bank with, I can suggest some, and I'll send them a list. And at that point, you want to get in touch with the lender, and the lender will pre-qualify you, and or figure out how we can get you to purchase a home. But the lender specifically will pre-qualify you, get you a price range that you want to look at, help you figure out your payments, things like that. And at that point, that's when they'll get back to me. And once I get that price range that they're in, I can put that on a filter, and then I can figure out how many bedrooms they're looking for, bathrooms, things like that, what area they want to be in, and then I'll send them just a wide list of homes, and then they'll contact me, say, hey, I like this house, I like this house. And I'll try to set up appointments, and then we'll go see them in person. So
narrow it down and get them closer to that end game.
Yeah, and I mean that's how it is for the buyer side. And when it comes to selling a home, it's obviously they start with us, and then what I like to do is I'll like to go meet them at their home and have them show me around, and I can take a look at everything, and pretty much they'll ask, do you suggest I need to fix anything or replace anything or add something or take something out? So, I like to go, and initially see the house and kind of give them suggestions and let them know, like, hey, you actually don't need to change this out, or you don't need to upgrade this, or, you might want to reduce clutter, things like that. So, when it comes to selling, that's what I like to do is actually go there and see everything and kind of give them advice there.
Help them prepare for that.
Exactly.
Purchaser that's going to look at hopefully buy their house.
Exactly, yeah. And then, you kind of learn their schedule and figure out if they're going to be living there, will people go there, and, what times they would like people to go. So,
does that get a little complicated with, people already living there, they have their pets, their family, whatever?
Mm-hmm. It can. But you always try to help them find a way to make it less complicated. I've had sellers that have lived in the home that have had pets. I've had people that leave their house vacant and they go live with someone else, or they already have a place to stay. Or some people switch to rent for a little bit before they purchase their next home, things like that. But yeah, I mean, it can get difficult, but I mean, that's kind of why I'm here, is to kind of figure out how we can make it easier for everybody in the process, the people viewing it, and also easier for them, and just making sure everything looks great.
Well, that's great. I mean, that makes, just listening to you makes me feel like you're the guy that I would want to buy a home from, because you're just so, you make it less daunting. And I think that's the biggest, I've said this on other interviews, that's the biggest part, is getting everybody to feel comfortable and also accommodate each other's needs, whether it's the buyer and the seller, and they're in the home or not in the home, all those variables. I think that's great. Is there anything else that you want to cover as far as that process is concerned?
Well, I think I've probably said everything that needs to be said. But, I think, for myself, when it comes to, meeting sellers and or buyers, I just try to make myself always available for them. And, because I'm so new, the nice thing is I make sure I spend a lot of time with them as needed. So whenever they need me, I'm there. I make sure that I don't overfill myself with a lot of people, so that I'm able to tend to everyone and give them the schedule they want from me, whether that's, seeing 6 houses in one day, if that's what's on the docket, or, or they want to spend a lot of time in one house, or see a house every day for a week, So I just make sure that I'm readily available for them.
Okay. So do you attend like a lot of open houses, or it just depends on the client on what they want to do? If they don't want to deal with other parties and other people in the house, you just kind of work that out with them as well?
Yeah, so I mean, every house on the market typically has a schedule, and so
okay.
whenever someone wants to see something, we're able to see, what that schedule's like, and request that time slot. Oftentimes open houses are on weekends. So, say they want to see a house at 3 o'clock, but that house has an open house from 3 to 5. I'll let them know, like, hey, this house is actually an open house. If you guys want to see it, we can go look. Just understand there will be people there, as well as probably the agents representing that house. But if you guys don't mind, we'll all take a trip. And, that also gives us time to ask them questions if you want, So that's kind of how we handle the open house situation. But when it comes to actually viewing all these houses, we do get to see their schedule and see, what's available, and then we'll go during those time slots.
Well, one of the things that I kept getting from you talking to you was that you treat your clients like family. You guys, it's a process, and you're there to help them through that process. And I think that makes a huge difference for people that are a little more on the robotic side versus,
Right.
a little bit more like down to earth human or a person.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, again, kind of going back from my roots, being in the car business, I've always tried to treat everybody like family or like somebody that I knew. And I think that's what makes, the process easier for people is, you're not necessarily treating them like you don't know them and like they're just a client and you're there just to handle that. You treat them like family, and you let them know you're there for them. You let them know that you're going to guide them and give them whatever passion they need, during this process. It makes it easier and a lot less stressful. And so, I learned that, at a younger age, and then being in that industry for 10 years, it helped me kind of continue to groom that. And then, getting into real estate, like I said, a big influence for me was my friend Ewan, who, he's also on my team, and I've learned a lot from him. And he was in an industry where he worked in the mall as a Foot Locker manager for quite a long time, and he developed relationships with people, and he's also showed me on how to talk to real estate clients and treat them like family. And then there's our QB Leland Titus, who he's been doing this well over 15 years, and I get to see how hard he works and what he does, and see how he treats his clients, and it just helps you kind of form how you should treat somebody like family in this business, and what's the right angle and how the right way to talk to people and things like that. So it's definitely nice and easy.
Well, one thing that I keep hearing is process, and I think a lot of people, they forget about that word, and there is a process to everything, whether it's finding out about your mortgage or your financial situation,
Right.
all the way to buying and purchasing the home. There is a process, and people need to remember that and respect the word, I would say.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to cover before we wrap up here? Maybe how to find you on whether you're on social media or...
Yeah. So again, I have all socials. You can just search my name, Melvin Lewis, on Facebook. I pop up. It's spelled Melven Louis. My Instagram is Realtor Melvin Lewis, and then I have a different page. It's just Melvin Lewis, so it's really easy to find me.
And we'll put all those credentials on the edit.
Awesome, yeah. And anyone that finds me, again, I like helping anyone and everyone. Again, what what Leland has helped us learn and teach is, we accept everything, and we'll work on anything. There's probably some realtors in this business that they may not want to do commercial, they may not want to do land, or maybe they don't want to work with a specific price range. Me or our group, our team, we've learned to take on anything, and me personally, I'll help anyone with anything. So I've worked on commercial, I've worked on land, I've worked on residential. There's nothing I won't shy away from, and even if I don't know it, what's nice is I have the team to back me up.
That's important.
And anything that I haven't been able to know, or anything I don't know about, I've been able to reach out to Leland, who again has well over 15 years of experience, and I'm able to reach out to Ewan, who has 5 years plus of experience, and they've done a lot of transactions where if I ever get confused, I have them. But again, about me, I'll never shy away from anything. So anyone out there that is looking for a realtor to help them with anything commercial, land, resale, residential, anything, I'm here. So
That's great to know. Well, thank you so much, Melvin. I really appreciate you.
sweet.
And there you have it, folks. Thank you for joining us on New Mexico Biz Talk. That's nmbiztalk.com. And we really appreciate Melvin here today.
Awesome. Thank you again for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Take care now. Thank you.